In the universe of Tensura, beings endowed with powers surpassing human comprehension reign supreme. They are known as the Demon Lords. Unlike in many fantasy works where the Demon Lord is a unique and solitary entity, here several of them coexist, forming a formidable and influential elite. The main protagonist of the story, Rimuru Tempest, is himself part of this exclusive circle, having ascended to this prestigious status. Becoming a Demon Lord is not merely a declaration of intent. One must either be recognized by the world itself or receive approval from the current Demon Lords to claim this supreme title. Among these legendary figures, some stand out due to their ancient origins on the same level as Guy and Milim, the oldest among them. And this is precisely the case of the fairy queen, Ramiris. In her immature form, she takes on the appearance of an adorable little fairy. But according to her own words, once she reaches maturity, she would unleash an absolutely terrifying power, capable of reshaping realities. Today, we dive into the story of Ramiris, the one who bears the title of Fairy of the Labyrinth, exploring her detailed profile. Her impressive strength and her remarkable feats are seen in the most recent Volume 21. We will also venture into reflections on her true power in her adult state and on those mystical arts she has yet to reveal to the world, based on the clues scattered throughout the series. Take your seat and enjoy this journey to the end, for the revelations about this mischievous fairy are worth it. Let's get started without further delay. Ramiris's profile. Ramiris, the pixie crowned with the title of Fairy of the Labyrinth. Originally, she was a noble queen of spirits, revered by spirits and fairies alike, acting as an administrator who oversaw cosmic balance. It was the imperial Saint Dragon Veldanava who gave her name, though, knowing her absent-minded nature, she probably only retains a faint memory of it. Before her fall, she possessed, much like Guy, the qualifications to become an ascendant, a divine status reserved for the purest beings. Her appearance is that of a tiny fairy with irresistible charm, with a mischievous, carefree and childlike temperament, always ready for a little prank. According to her, her mind is influenced by her youthful body, which explains her childish manners and innocent way of speaking. She tends to exaggerate her own abilities a bit, revealing a boastful and opportunistic side, but despite that, she is adored by those around her, who cherish her as a precious treasure. Surprisingly intelligent, as a former Queen of Spirits, she excels particularly in spiritual engineering, manipulating ethereal essences with innate mastery. She is also well-versed in physics, and since establishing a secret laboratory within the underground labyrinth, she eagerly absorbs new knowledge, engaging in innovative experiments that merge magic and science. Like Guy and Milim, she is among the oldest Demon Lords and serves as a sacred guide for heroes, granting blessings to the valiant. Although she bears the title of Demon Lord for this purpose, she is neither a true Demon Lord nor an authentic demonic species. Guy and Milim protect her with deep affection, treating her less like a friend and more like a little sister to be safeguarded. When Dino once joked that he might strangle her, Guy retorted that anyone who dared lay a hand on Ramiris would have to face him first, revealing an unexpectedly overprotective side from this usually impassive Demon Lord. In the great game opposing Guy and Rudra, by the way, the video about Rudra and Masayuki is available on the channel. Why do you refuse to watch such a high-quality video? Go check it out afterward, you won't regret it. She is considered untouchable, and among the Demon Lords, she is one of those it is strictly forbidden to threaten, under penalty of severe consequences. Ramiris's subordinates. Before her encounter with Rimuru, Ramiris did have small spirits as followers, but there were no powerful named monsters or major demons among them. During the Walpurgis banquets, she could not bring a large entourage, and it seems she had been relegated to the rank of a marginal figure alongside Dino, a rather worrying situation. However, everything changed drastically with Rimuru's arrival in her life. Incredibly, Ramiris suddenly found herself blessed with true subordinates worthy of her status. This astonished even her fellow Demon Lord Dino, who was surprised not only by their existence, but also by their overwhelming strength. Trainee. This spirit has served Ramiris since the time when she was still the Queen of Spirits. When Ramiris fell and became a demon lord, transitioning from Queen of Spirits to Queen of Fairies, Trainee suffered a similar fate, transforming from a pure spirit into a dryad, affected by the same energetic corruption. Separated from her mistress during that event, she was later taken in by Veldora and became the guardian of the forest. Yet her attachment to Ramiris only grew over time, and upon their reunion, she rejoined her ranks without the slightest hesitation. Normally, Trainee acts as an intellectual and reliable elder sister, but in front of Ramiris, she turns into an excessively indulgent protector, incapable of refusing her anything. Beretta. In the caverns of the Republic of Algracia, Rimuru summoned this demon to replace the golem he had destroyed, thus offering Ramiris a devoted guardian. Beretta belongs to the lineage of Noir, a class of demons, and stands out for his eccentric, almost atypical personality compared to his peers. Passionate about experiments and innovative discoveries, he quickly found in Ramiris a kindred spirit on an intellectual level, perfectly matching her curious and inventive nature. Charmed by the little fairy's personality, Beretta did not hesitate to transfer the master key of his allegiance, initially held by Rimuru, directly to Ramiris herself, thereby sealing an absolute and sincere loyalty to his new mistress. Today, he spends his daily life caught between Ramiris's unpredictable whims, which drive him crazy, and Trainee's total lack of intervention, as she turns a blind eye to these eccentricities with infinite indulgence. Yet these chaotic days are filled with genuine joy, where laughter and adventure are never lacking. Ramiris's blessing, the arbitration between Guy and Milim. Back when Ramiris ruled as the Queen of Spirits over the entire world, she had to intervene in an imminent cataclysm caused by Milim, who, devastated by the loss of her former dragon, had succumbed to uncontrollable rage that threatened to plunge the universe into total chaos and destruction. Guy had stepped in to stop her, triggering a titanic battle that lasted 7 days and 7 nights without pause, shaking the very foundations of reality itself. It was then that Ramiris, using her supreme authority, interfered in the conflict, sacrificing the entirety of her power as Queen of Spirits to bring Milim back to her senses and end this devastating war. Exposed to a massive torrent of demonic and draconic energies unleashed by the battle, she did not merely lose her powers, she underwent a deep fall, transforming into a fallen fairy, marked by corruption, but still preserving her benevolent essence. From that pivotal moment onward, Ramiris was recognized as the third Demon Lord, becoming the only figure of this rank to retain a continuous qualification through her reincarnations, an exceptional status that distinguishes her from all others. In recognition of this heroic act that saved the world, Guy and Milim devoted eternal gratitude to her, forging between the three of them an unbreakable friendship that transcended ages, marked by deep harmony and indissoluble bonds. Ramiris's past, the blessing of the Spirit of Light to Leon. During his human life, young Leon, still just a boy, ventured to the Sanctuary of Spirits, a mystical place brimming with ancient knowledge, where he summoned a superior spirit of light under the guidance of Ramiris, the ancient superior spirit well versed in the arcane arts of wisdom. This contract sealed a powerful pact, for Leon possessed the innate qualifications of a hero, which Ramiris immediately recognized, granting him the blessing of the spirits and designating him as a true chosen one. On that occasion, Leon, with tears in his eyes and a broken heart, begged Ramiris to summon a specific person from another world, a desperate request born of unbearable sorrow. However, faced with the impossibility of such an act, his frustration erupted, driving him to seize by force the superior spirit of fire, Ifrit, in an impulsive gesture that forever marked his destiny. The encounter with Rimuru Ramiris had built a vast labyrinth in the heart of the forest of the Republic of Algracia, an enchanted domain where she spent her time playing mischievous tricks on the unfortunate intruders who dared to venture inside, turning every intrusion into a memorable prank. When Rimuru and his companions managed to defeat the imposing elemental colossus and delve deeper, Ramiris immediately realized that this was the friend whose praises Milim had sung so often, a revelation that sparked her curiosity. Upon learning of the critical situation of the sick children, her original temperament, filled with infinite compassion, resurfaced, driving her to offer her help with touching generosity, guided by pure love for the innocent. She escorted them to the entrance of the Sanctuary of Spirits, a mystical portal connected to ethereal realms, and watched closely as Rimuru performed the summoning ritual, merging the spirits with the children to save them. However, when Chloe summoned Cronoa, a perilous entity from the future, probably a spirit affiliated with the attribute of time and emanating a menacing aura, Ramiris sensed the imminent danger but could not intervene in time, allowing the fusion to be completed. Although no immediate incident occurred, this presence deeply troubled her, planting the seeds of heightened vigilance for the future. In return for her cooperation, Ramiris reminded Rimuru of his promise to provide a new guardian to replace the destroyed elemental colossus, pestering him relentlessly until she got her way. Rimuru then summoned a greater demon, granted it a robust body forged from magic, and named it Beretta, sealing a contract that made it Ramiris's official protector. Overjoyed beyond words by this new companion, Ramiris resumed her enchanted routine alongside her spirits and Beretta, enriched by a new and exciting dynamic. Ramiris's feats. When Clayman convened a Walpurgis regarding Rimuru, Ramiris, sensing danger for her ally, burst into Tempest just after the end of the battle against the Kingdom of Farmus, bringing with her a palpable sense of urgency. She dramatically announced the imminent destruction of the nation, spreading panic, but upon seeing the resurrected Veldora, she fainted on the spot, completely overwhelmed by shock. Once she had recovered, and after being lured in by an abundance of manga that captivated her childish imagination, she came to revere Veldora as her undisputed master, spending more and more time in his company, sharing unexpected moments of camaraderie. When asked about the true reason for her visit, she revealed that Clayman was plotting to have Rimuru declared an enemy during Walpurgis, paving the way for a massive attack on Tempest. Determined to side with Rimuru, she promised her full cooperation should he decide to confront the council, ready to use her influence to overturn the situation. The reunion with Trainee. After the meeting, Ramiris experienced an intense wave of emotion upon reuniting with Trainee, who had faithfully served her during her glorious days as the Queen of Spirits. Trainee, overflowing with unconditional love for her mistress, instantly abandoned her image of a serious and composed elder sister to become an excessively doting protector, showering Ramiris with affection and exaggerated attention. Together they explored the wonders of the city of Tempest, where Ramiris was utterly charmed by the heavenly atmosphere, to the point of declaring that she wanted to settle there permanently, already imagining how to install a secret entrance to her labyrinth, much to Beretta's dismay, who once again found himself caught in the middle of the commotion. Participation in Walpurgis. To attend Walpurgis in grand fashion, Ramiris insisted on bringing followers worthy of the occasion, appointing Trainee and Beretta as her ideal representatives, a decision that strengthened her status and laid the groundwork for crucial alliances. However, Trainee was initially unable to leave the forest under her protection, a major obstacle to her participation as one of Ramiris's attendants. To solve this issue, Rimuru, with his usual ingenuity, forged a vessel for dryads, allowing Trainee to bind herself to it and evolve into a high dryad. This transformation freed her from the constraints of the forest and officially allowed her to join the ranks of Ramiris's subordinates, to the immense delight of the latter. Overjoyed, Ramiris raised her arms to the sky, exulting at the thought of being accompanied by Trainee and Beretta, her two loyal allies during Walpurgis. Upon her arrival at the council, she was honored with a seat among the upper thrones, a recognition of her ancient and respected status. Delighted to see Guy and her other peers again after such a long absence, she enjoyed the reunion with childlike joy, observing the debates with a mix of curiosity and amusement. When Walpurgis began, palpable tension arose between Rimuru's faction and Clayman's, marking the start of a political and strategic confrontation. Ramiris, loyal to her alliance with Rimuru, skillfully negotiated with Guy to send Beretta to assist her friend, watching the scene with an almost personal pride, as if she herself were fighting alongside Rimuru, her eyes sparkling with satisfaction. Upon returning from Walpurgis, Ramiris enthusiastically announced her wish to settle permanently in Tempest, enchanted by the city's vibrant atmosphere and its endless opportunities. Ignoring Beretta's protests, who feared she might cause trouble, she impulsively built a makeshift hut right at the entrance of Tempest, provoking Rimuru's amused irritation as he gently scolded her for her rash initiative. However, living in Tempest meant contributing to the community, a prospect that proved difficult for such a whimsical fairy as Ramiris. After some thought, Rimuru recalled Ramiris's passion for creating labyrinths and made her a bold proposal: to integrate a gigantic underground labyrinth beneath the construction site of the pottery grounds in preparation for Tempest's inauguration festival. Thrilled at the idea of becoming the manager of this labyrinth, attracting adventurers and curious visitors to a unique attraction, Ramiris saw in it a chance to escape idleness while having fun. When she was told that she could earn about 2 gold coins per day through this enterprise, she exclaimed ecstatically that she would soon become immensely rich, causing laughter among those around her. Thanks to her unique skill, Small World, Ramiris began designing an underground labyrinth of unparalleled scale, where she held an almost divine power, capable of shaping nearly anything she imagined. She involved Veldora in this ambitious project, and the three of them, with Rimuru's help, embarked on a masterful transformation of the underground space. The labyrinth extended over 100 levels, the last of which housed a chamber reserved for Veldora, where he could fully unleash his draconic aura, generating monstrous creatures to challenge intruders. The internal structure could be modified at will, and Ramiris could even resurrect the dead within her domain, as long as she recognized the individual and they had the will to enter the labyrinth. To perfect the experience, she created resurrection bracelets, items allowing adventurers to return to life, and placed bosses on every 10th floor, accompanied by treasure chests and save points, transforming the labyrinth into a true role-playing game dungeon, just as Rimuru had imagined. Return whistles, artifacts that allowed one to return to the surface, were also designed, further enhancing immersion. Thus, as the inauguration festival of Tempest approached, the labyrinth, fruit of the collective genius of Ramiris, Veldora, and Rimuru, evolved into an attraction of formidable complexity and danger, ready to welcome visitors. Meanwhile, the temporary housing of the city's inhabitants was cleverly relocated inside the labyrinth, optimizing urban space. Once the labyrinth opened to adventurers, a problem quickly emerged. The visitors' skill levels were far too low to face the challenges offered, with most failing to reach even the 10th floor. Fearing that the labyrinth might be deemed insurmountable, which could discourage visitors from coming to Tempest, an emergency meeting was convened to adjust the difficulty. Miles, the shrewd merchant, and Masayuki, the hero from another world, participated in these discussions, offering complementary perspectives. Miles identified operational flaws with sharp business insight, while Masayuki, drawing on his knowledge from another world, proposed creative solutions to make the labyrinth more accessible. Impressed by Masayuki's ingenuity, Ramiris recognized him as a valuable ally for her project, integrating him into her circle of trust. Thanks to the collaboration of Miles and Masayuki, the management of the labyrinth was optimized, allowing Ramiris to flourish in a fulfilling daily life, where her talents finally found fertile ground. When Rimuru developed an interactive system within the labyrinth using pseudo-souls, allowing avatars to be created for simulated adventures, Ramiris, Milim, and Veldora immediately became interested, fascinated by the playful concept. Ramiris chose to control a living armor, an imposing monster, savoring the thrill of moving within a massive and powerful body. Forming a team with Rimuru, Milim, and Veldora, she immersed herself in thrilling quests, challenging adventurers and monsters with contagious enthusiasm, to the point that their group, nicknamed the Dominators of the Labyrinth, became a feared legend throughout the labyrinth. Later, when Rimuru and Milim brought back Gaia, a dragon resurrected from the ruins of Soma, Ramiris became involved in his training program. Realizing that Gaia, the young resurrected dragon, needed to sharpen his hunting instincts, Ramiris proposed reforming the Dominators of the Labyrinth to train him within the labyrinth, an initiative blending education and amusement in an epic setting. Ramiris, alongside her companions, closely followed Gaia's progress, observing with pride the young dragon's growth inside the labyrinth. The feats of Ramiris. Creation of a secret society. After the inauguration War of Tempest, the underground labyrinth became the stage for an ambitious project, a collaborative research center attracting scholars from the four corners of the world. With her natural charisma, Ramiris established herself as the mascot of this diverse group, infusing it with a sense of camaraderie that gave it the air of a secret society. Even the demon lord Dino joined the enterprise, and Ramiris, generously sharing her extensive knowledge of spirits, found her place at the heart of this circle of scholars. Surrounded by friends and immersed in her beloved research, she lived days of rare bliss, blending intellectual exploration with moments of joyful companionship. The feats of Ramiris, defense against the Eastern Empire. When the conflict with the Eastern Empire intensified, Ramiris executed a spectacular plan, transferring the entirety of Rimuru's capital, the central city, inside the underground labyrinth to protect it. Alongside Veldora, she summoned the labyrinth veterans, an elite group of seasoned warriors, to organize the counter-offensive. During a strategic meeting, she inspired these warriors, brimming with zeal, assigning them precise roles to repel the Imperial army. As a final encouragement, she reminded them that Rimuru himself was observing their efforts, triggering a wave of fierce determination as the veterans launched into battle with unmatched fervor. After a brilliant victory in the labyrinth's defense, Rimuru suggested that Ramiris use the souls gathered to name the Dragon Kings, a proposal she welcomed enthusiastically. Acting as a parental figure, she named these entities, triggering their evolution into humanoid forms, a spectacular leap in power. Frustrated by their repeated defeats within the labyrinth, the Dragon Kings expressed a desire for further training, and Veldora, with his usual generosity, volunteered to supervise their regimen, promising sessions as intense as they were legendary. The failures of Ramiris. Dino's betrayal. When the Great Tenma War erupted, the angels launched their assault, and among them the invaders of the labyrinth belonged to the elite of the 7 primordial angels, led by Feldway and accompanied by Zalario, entities as powerful as the primordial demons. Ramiris mobilized her forces, deploying the recently awakened and evolved labyrinth veterans, but the situation quickly turned tragic. Dino, who was in the control room, succumbed to Feldway's regalia dominion, turning against his allies in a devastating act of betrayal. Fortunately, Beretta, Apito, and Zagion watched over Ramiris, protecting her as she fell into a peaceful slumber, unaware of the surrounding chaos. When she awoke, Dino had already fled, leaving behind a bitter void. Participation in Guy's Walpurgis. When Guy convened an emergency Walpurgis, Ramiris, invited by Rain alongside Rimuru, traveled to the Ice Palace, where crucial revelations awaited her. There, she learned of the impending conflict with the angels and the stakes of the age-old game between Guy and Rudra. In a rare moment of unity, the Demon Lords decided to ally together to confront this common threat, and Ramiris, though often mischievous, took part in this coalition with unusual seriousness, ready to defend her world. As the Great Tenma War intensified, Rimuru mysteriously disappeared, plunging Tempest into palpable tension. Yet, its inhabitants remained determined to protect their city, resolved to ensure that their master would find an intact kingdom upon his return. When Dino and an angelic army led by Vega launched a new invasion of the labyrinth, Ramiris counterattacked strategically. She pitted her elite veterans against the assailants, organizing duels in which her now seasoned champions triumphed, such as when Zagion, strengthened by his training, defeated Pico and Garasha, members of the 7 primordial angels. The neutralization of Vega. During that same invasion, Vega, armed with the ultimate skill Azidahaka, attempted to erode the labyrinth by corrupting its very structure. Ramiris, far from remaining passive, reacted with astonishing audacity. She activated a masterful technique, the Labyrinth Prison, isolating Vega within a parallel dimension, cutting off his destructive influence. This feat immediately halted the invasion, leaving Diablo and Zagion to decide the fate of the imprisoned enemy. Ramiris' current power. In her current state as a small fairy, Ramiris is not a formidable combatant. A simple pinch would be enough to render her powerless, and although she could theoretically reach colossal strength upon maturity, her present form limits her physical capabilities. However, her unique skill, Small World, grants her near-divine power within her labyrinth. Capable of manipulating the laws of reality inside this space, she can create separate dimensions, shape environments at will, and even orchestrate resurrections. This labyrinth has become the ultimate bastion of Tempest, a fortress where Ramiris reigns supreme, turning her apparent weaknesses into unmatched strategic strength. The peculiarities of the labyrinth created by Ramiris are both fascinating and numerous, making it a masterpiece of magic and ingenuity. Composed of about 100 floors, it offers unique functions. Ramiris can resurrect anyone she personally recognizes, thus preventing any permanent loss during perilous explorations. Capable of engulfing the entirety of Rimuru's capital, the central city, in case of danger, it nonetheless maintains a mandatory link to the real world, avoiding complete isolation that could disrupt the cosmic balance. Each floor must be equipped with its own entrance and exit, ensuring smooth movement, and Ramiris can infuse it with a myriad of additional effects, such as clever traps, deceptive illusions, or accelerated regeneration zones, turning the whole into a living, unpredictable ecosystem. Within this domain, allies become virtually immortal, making it an ideal ground for intense training or impenetrable defense, placing the labyrinth at the very heart of Tempest's infrastructure as an essential strategic pillar. Thanks to this, even though Ramiris herself does not excel in direct combat, her subordinates and the labyrinth's forces gain extraordinary strength through realistic simulations without fear of death, resulting in supreme-class defensive capability, able to rival the greatest threats. Moreover, within this environment, she can deploy advanced arts such as the Labyrinth Prison, a technique she developed inspired by the Infinite Corridor acquired by Rimuru, allowing her to isolate enemies within a parallel dimension, trapping them far from reality with no hope of immediate return. Let us now examine her original power. Within the story, Ramiris never doubts her own strength, and the scattered hints suggest that, in her mature form, she would unleash an absolutely colossal power, far beyond her current appearance. Before her fall as the Queen of Spirits, she managed to contain the titanic clash between Guy and Milim, neutralizing their devastating auras for 7 full days to prevent the world from collapsing under the impact, demonstrating an undeniable equivalence with those two titans. This fact alone indicates that she possessed a quantity of magic energy equal to that of Guy or Milim, and that she likely mastered spirits at a superior level, manipulating primordial essences to mitigate the destruction. By extrapolation, her original existence value could easily exceed tens of millions, a threshold reserved for divine entities. Moreover, her ability to neutralize the auras of Milim and Guy evokes an innate skill similar to Dagruel's attribute neutralization, potentially a unique skill of ultimate order, specialized in the harmonization of opposing forces. Born approximately at the same time as Dagruel and named by the creator of the world himself, Veldanava, with the title of Administrator, her pedigree excludes any notion of intrinsic weakness. She was undoubtedly on the same level as the Transcendentals, watching over cosmic balance with absolute authority. Although no direct combat scenes are described in her past, her role at the summit of the hierarchy, comparable to that of Guy, implies that she went through countless crises to maintain the stability of the world, forging experience through the fires of endless trials. As a former Queen of Spirits, she likely excelled in spirit magic, summoning them to amplify her power to the rank of the Transcendentals, creating phenomena that defied the natural laws. Although she does not appear to have possessed an ultimate skill at that time, her unique skill as the Fairy Queen Small World rivals or even surpasses world-type ultimate skills in versatility and freedom, allowing infinite manipulation of space and reality. Being born at the same time as Dagruel, her very existence could be a primordial ultimate skill itself, potentially integrating abilities such as attribute neutralization, dimensional labyrinth creation, mastery over spirits, or even divine spiritualities, all at a supreme level. Synthesizing these elements, the true strength of Ramiris far surpasses that of the awakened demon lords, placing her on the same level as Guy, Milim, or Dagruel, those transcendentals capable of reshaping the destinies of the world. The mystery of the 48 deadly techniques. Ramiris frequently mentions in the story her famous 48 deadly techniques, a recurring claim that intrigues by its theatrical nature. According to official sources such as canonical data sheets, these techniques are indeed recognized as arts unique to Ramiris, suggesting that they are not mere boasts but actual abilities, though often exaggerated for comedic effect. If these 48 deadly techniques truly exist in the form of arts, let us explore what they might be based on the established lore. Among the most probable means of attack for Ramiris, offensive magic dominates, particularly spirit magic, which perfectly aligns with her heritage. Spirit magic consists of forming contracts with higher entities of nature, borrowing their power to generate magical phenomena that alter the physical laws of the world. For example, Rimuru's Megiddo is an advanced application of this magic, a devastating beam of light, classified as an original physical magic. With a contracted spirit, one can exert effects proportional to its energy without requiring complex formulas, making this form of magic highly practical in combat. However, its limits lie in the intrinsic power of the spirit itself and the individual variations possible in spirit contracts. As the former Queen of Spirits, Ramiris could invoke any kind of spirit magic without the constraint of a contract, transcending the usual rules for absolute flexibility. Moreover, she would be capable of going beyond the standard framework by combining spirit magics of various attributes to create multi-attribute composite spells, an unprecedented technique in the story that would exponentially multiply the effects, fusing fire, water, wind, and earth into hybrid assaults, both unpredictable and overwhelmingly powerful. This hypothesis regarding composite techniques of spirit magic, which seem to defy the impossible within the Tensura universe, is based on an ability to manipulate the fundamental laws of reality. Such a feat, which bends the physical rules themselves, would probably require an ultimate skill unique to the Queen of Spirits, a power of exceptional magnitude capable of producing devastating effects of rarely matched force. But why exactly are these techniques numbered 48, as Ramiris so confidently claims? The answer could lie within the very structure of spiritual attributes. In this universe, spirits are divided into 8 distinct attributes: earth, water, fire, wind, sky, darkness, light, and time. If we consider that a given attribute can be combined with 6 other compatible attributes, excluding its opposite according to the relationships of mutual cancellation, this leads precisely to 48 possible combinations. Thus, the famous 48 deadly techniques that Ramiris boasts of could indeed correspond to these multi-attribute composite spells, extraordinary spirit magics, where she manipulates reality itself by rewriting its fundamental rules through her ultimate skill, an art exclusive to her status as the Queen of Spirits. This hypothesis suggests that each technique would be a unique fusion of attributes, creating magical phenomena of unpredictable effects and colossal power, capable of rivaling even the most feared ultimate skills. In summary, we have explored in depth the character of Ramiris, this mischievous little fairy at the heart of the story. What do you think? Beneath her current appearance as an adorable and fragile fairy lies a majestic essence, that of a fairy queen overflowing with compassion and latent power that commands respect. Despite her often clumsy demeanor and whimsical behavior throughout the story, her sharp intelligence and titanic potential make her a character of fascinating duality, a rarity even among the most prominent figures of the work. This combination of innocent charm and transcendent power creates a captivating contrast that makes Ramiris unforgettable. If you have opinions, comments, or reflections on this analysis, feel free to share them in the comments. Your opinion matters a lot. If you enjoyed this dive into Ramiris's universe, A little thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. And if you wish to discover other equally exciting explorations, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss anything. See you very soon for another adventure in this fantastic universe.